and this is the spot to be for all of your morning's political news and headlines with lots of special guests. And today, a very special guest. I'm joined by Sepi Shyne. She's a candidate for West Hollywood City Council. She's here with me tonight. Full disclosure for our viewers that I will be emceeing an event for Sepi this evening, but we wanted to have her on and talk about her very important race here in West Hollywood, California. Welcome, Sepi Shyne.
Hi, Alex. So good to be here. Thank you for having me. Happy Women's Equality Day.
Happy Women's Equality Day. It's very good to have you on this really awesome day. We have some people chiming in and joining already. So Ariana Blatt says hello.
Hello.
Sepi, good morning. First off, salam halet khobe chatori.
خیلی ممنون مرسی.
خیلی خوبه. Farsi's not that great, but I love that you're an Iranian-American woman who is running for elected office. And I think that's really important for representation. You know, we talk a lot about representation in our own little political circles. And I'm so inspired by your race. What do you feel like first and foremost about representation of Americans who are Iranian or of Middle Eastern descent in the political sphere, and how does it feel to be taking up that mantle?
I'm honored to be taking up this mantle because it's so crucial. There is, despite Los Angeles County having the largest Iranian American population outside of Iran, we have such little representation in office and across the U.S. There's just been a lack of civic engagement and a huge lack of Iranians in office. And given the narrative that is made about our heritage and about who we are, I'm proud to be running to win a seat. In fact, I'll be not only the first Iranian American elected to this council, but only a few in all of California. And I'll be the first out LGBTQ Iranian elected to public office anywhere in the entire world. So,
wow.
This will really shatter a lot of stereotypes about who we are as LGBTQ people, LGBTQ Iranians, as Iranians, and I'm really honored to help to expand representation and for women too, and women of color. There's also so few of us in office, so it's crucial that we do. And, you know, I just wanted to say, just with women in general, we're 51% of the population in the U.S., but we're only 25% of the U.S. Senate, 23% of the U.S. House of Representatives. And this is after the big women's wave of 2018, by the way. Only 22% of mayors with populations over 30,000. Are women. So we need more women in office, especially women of color.
I think that you hit it right on the head, and it's really it brings up for me like the concept of intersectionality, because I didn't realize that you'd be the first LGBTQ Iranian American or Iranian to be elected to any elected office ever. So we talk a lot about since 2016, the women's movement and electing women to elected office, and you referenced the 2018 midterm where there was like a historic election, I think, of 100 women or a lot of women to the House, which was a great step forward. But I kind of, even in prepping for this morning, I kind of didn't even think about the intersectionality aspect of it, that it may be the first time an Iranian American LGBTQ person elected to office. That's fantastic. And so what inspired you to run for this office? And are you hoping that that this does something for intersectionality?
Absolutely. It'll do a lot, first of all, for intersectionality. Not only my different perspective as an LGBTQ person, as an Iranian, as an immigrant. I was an undocumented immigrant for 16 years of my life. I was born to a Muslim family, non-practicing Muslim. As a woman of color, there's so many intersections involved. And what really inspired me, given that there were so few Iranians in office, and so few LGBTQ, like zero LGBTQ Iranians, And also not many women of color. I never saw myself in elected office because I didn't see anyone that looked like me, grew up like me, loved like me. Just none of that. So the November 2018 blue wave really inspired me. And when I saw all of the diversity getting into office, I thought, oh, you know, I want to do this. And plus, I love West Hollywood. I've lived here for over a decade, and I saw so much economic displacement happening. Young people can't afford to even move here anymore. Just a irresponsible development. You know, we need more affordable housing, not necessarily all this luxury housing that's popped up. There's just been our village has changed so much, and all our small businesses are closing. So those are all the reasons why I was so inspired. And I was asked, you know, they say women need to be asked 8 times before they run for office, but men are asked once. They're like, let's do it. I was actually asked 4 times, and I decided to run.
Well, I'm very glad you did, and I'm very glad you were asked. And I'll note, you know, there have been studies that have been done on this, that when a woman is in elected office or in a position of power, she's usually receives rave reviews and high marks. But when she's seeking power, there's something in the American sort of sociology that causes people to try to, you know, tear them down, cast them as power hungry or ambitious, you know, denigrate and impugn their character. And that does kind of lead me to my next question, which is, you know, recently there is a sitting member of the West Hollywood City Council who, the backstory is that you were sitting in on a West Hollywood City Council forum that I was actually moderating. So I was not I was an impartial moderator. And you were all asked a question about Boys Town. Like, West Hollywood is very well known for its LGBTQ population and has a Boys Town area of bars and clubs. And the question was about inclusion and making West Hollywood a more inclusive place. Now, you answered the question just the same way as every other candidate who was on the forum. You answered in a way that was about inclusivity and making sure that all the different colors of the spectrum were represented in West Hollywood. Now, the sitting West Hollywood City Council member is named, remind me his name.
John DeMico.
John DeMico. That's the one. There are a lot of Johns in the West Hollywood race. So he posted a diatribe to Facebook in which he attacked you, and he called your calls for inclusion a dog whistle for hatred, to be protecting cisgender white men, white gay men. And I thought it was very odd and a real attack on your integrity for no real reason. And he singled you out when all of the other candidates answered the question the same way. So what's your take on that? And what's your response to City Council member John DeMico?
I think that when people that have been used to being in positions of privilege and power mistake calls for inclusion as thinking that something's going to be taken away from them. And the reality is more inclusion means our city will be better. And we have been, you know, West Hollywood is a inclusionary city. You know, we have an inclusionary housing policy. We were the first city in America to have the first lesbian mayor in the world. She served for 1 year, and we haven't had any queer women in elected office since. We don't have gender parity on our commissions. You know, it's really starkly unequal, and there's room for improvement. And Boys Town, there is a history that we need to acknowledge and respect. But this is 2020, and we want all of our rainbow respected and included. LGBTQIA plus. So exactly. So you know, there's definitely room for improvement, and I think he doesn't know who I am, unfortunately. And my message to him is, I'm happy to sit down and get to know him better and allow him to get to know me better. The thing is, in our politics, everything's become so divisive for no reason. I'm going to be in office likely with him, and there's things we can do together to make West Hollywood better. And I'm always open to a sit down. I think the best thing we can do in politics is have conversations, because all of these, internet posts that are so Trumpian and come from someplace that doesn't even make sense are all based on stereotypes and misinterpretations. So that's my message for that.
Well, Sepi, I think that you are being kind, because the only reason that John DeMico would single you out when you answered the question the same way as everyone else is that there's some implicit misogyny and maybe even racism there, because the only difference between you and the other candidates is that you're an Iranian American lesbian woman. And so you're being nice, and I appreciate that. I think that you'll make an excellent city council member because of that, and your willingness to discuss these issues with him and help him grow. But let me just chime in and say, from my opinion, as an Iranian American gay male, I was offended. And so, West Hollywood is known as being an inclusive city, a progressive city, a city that celebrates what's different about us. And I would hope that the elected officials who are representing it also celebrate what makes us different. And so we've got a comment from Mackenzie Hussman, who's joining in. West Hollywood needs a lesbian on city council. It's time, and Sepi is the progressive woman for the job. Okay.
Hey. Hi, Mackenzie.
Sepi, why don't you talk to us just a little bit about what you want to do? We only have a couple minutes left. It's a short broadcast. About what your plans are for West Hollywood and what your vision is and what you're going to do once you're elected.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm a small business owner. I own 2 small businesses. In my law practice, I represent businesses. So out of all the candidates running, I definitely have the most business expertise. And what we need really is to have business recovery and small business recovery in our city. Small businesses are the backbone and foundation of cities. And certainly we've seen a lot of ours closed down for a very long time. And this lowers the quality of life that we all have. I'm also a renter, so I will protect renters and tenants' rights till the end. So we need to pass Proposition 21. That's crucial because essentially it's going to be renters' protections on a local level. I encourage everyone to go check it out. We are at possibly 4 million people who are renters are at, unfortunately, may lose their housing because of this pandemic. And that would imagine we have our homeless crisis already is so high. We need to increase our affordable housing in West Hollywood, and I will push for that. And I'm all about creating solutions. My website has all of my policy plans transparently in detail laid out, and gender equity. Gender equity is very important, and I want to push for gender equity on our city commissions too.
Fantastic. We've got a comment from Sankey. The sooner we can be fully inclusive, the sooner we can focus our collective united energy on overcoming class inequality. Thank you for that comment. Tonight you will be having a fundraiser. It's a virtual fundraiser to help garnish up support for your campaign. I will be there. I will be hosting it. I will be emceeing. Where can people find information about that and support you?
Yeah, so SepiShyne.com. I will, you can go over there. There's a tag right there to join our fundraiser. Alex is moderating for us, and we have Tehran Bangasri, who is a progressive, incredible human being. He's actually Black and Iranian, and social justice is a big part of my platform too, and I have policies to dismantle white supremacy and systemic racism in our city and be a model for other cities. So tonight, we're blessed to have this incredible fundraiser, and a dear friend of mine, Amir Parsar, is also hosting. So please come and join us. And if you can't afford the ticket, you can do a special $50 donation, and you can come in too.
Sepi, when you start talking about all the Iranian Americans who are going to be there, Iranian dance.
Yes, we'll have to do some bandadi. My family's from Abadan, so.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for joining Sepi Shyne. She is running for West Hollywood City Council this November. If elected, she will become the first LGBTQ Iranian elected to any elected office in the world ever, which is just amazing. So please support her. Visit her at sepishine.com. That's the right website, right?
Yeah.
I'm Alex Mahajer. This has been the AM Report for HAPS News, the network of now. We are live every weekday morning at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. If you like this journalism, if you want to sponsor and support it, please visit us at haps.tv/at Alex Mahajer, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Alex.